3 o'clock in the morning, I stumbled across this post like one steps into the kitchen for a late night snack and right into the dog poop with Sparky wagging his tail at you. Yet again, science has gone too far. The Epic of Alexander has been desecrated by what I can only describe as the dumbest plugin I've seen yet. And I've seen the Rothgar nipple ring some of you use, and yes, I've seen the Viera mod that adds the Heimerdinger, and somehow, this is somehow even worse than both of those. As someone who has collected the full set of T-weapons in Party Finder because I'm like a moth and like shiny things, please, for the love of all that is holy, don't bring this into other people's groups. You know bumper cars, right? This is exactly how you turn that Party Finder group with 7 players that actually do know the fight into bumper cars. Cars flipping over one another, and one's flying off into the field, and the other's on fire, and one is off flying straight to Narnia for the lion, the witch, and the audacity of this bitch to bring auto markers into my Christian T group. Just in case you're one of the like 5 remaining people who play this game who don't know, there's a tool, which is against TOS, which automatically puts markers above players' heads, and it has got an update. This will fart out onto everyone on the team these markers, whether they want to look at them or not. As someone who has worn a safety Dorito around like the cringe kid in school with the hall monitor badge, my eyes have evolved to be able to, in fact, read the hieroglyphs above my head that Limit Cut produces. Which always sounds easy until you get that number 6 above your head because Yoshi P said, "Screw you, that's why." Now the sadomasochist, I mean scientist in me, wants to run what cringe tubers would call a social experiment and see how badly I can wipe Party Finder groups if I put together a macro that splattered the party with markers and probably splattered my group across the floor, kind of like what you'd see in the quicksand on Balmung now I think of it. What do you mean your eyes haven't evolved to also see the limit cut number properly with markers above your head, you shitter? You boomer? Welcome to the future. Get with the times, old man. And speaking of getting with the times, you old fart, next week is going to introduce an update where stillness is now indicated by the entire party getting markers above their head flashing 3 times, on, off, and motion by flashing over your head 4 times. Get good, scrub, get add all, get commit, get push the team into the death wall. Now, Inception Crystals is a fun one to me because markers are apparently needed for this. Now, I'll tell you why I'm really good at Inception Crystals. It basically breaks down to who wants to be sandwiched or not, and as both a gay guy and a Rothgar, I am exceedingly familiar with that position both in-game and real life. So I always choose the patty position of the burger. Now on that note, what is really neat to me is that there is apparently a mechanic called Inception Formation. I deadass don't even remember what this is, and so that is really a bad indicator of me thinking that markers are probably not needed for this. Inception Formation is where I ask Brute Justice to step on me like Yoshi P asked for, right? Right? And then, by the glory of all that is holy in my Christian T group, there is also one for Final Word, which out of the list of all of these things might be the most necessary of them, but only, and only if it takes into account a few factors. Very simple factors that will be very logical in a second. First of all, if these markers make me die first, these markers are awful and burn them with the fire of Nikocado Avocado's red-hot flatulence after a colossal mukbang of Taco Bell. And unfortunately, I have, in fact, been to Balmung. And I know that to some people that isn't a punishment, but to the rest of us, that sounds like hell. Now the second factor that maybe makes it so that I am the last to get chained up, well, hey, maybe this marker crap isn't so bad, maybe I can get used to it. Actually, hold up, we ain't done here. What are the markers for temporal stasis and who the actual crap would know what's going on? Like, with just the markers. Christmas tethers awkwardly kiss to the other side. Lightning debuffs move to the Brute Justice side to not get cleaved by Cruise Chaser. Dark tether stretches out to Narnia on the Brute Justice side, and then a little bit more in to bait Cruise Chaser's third strike. And if you threw a number 3 marker above my head, what the actual turducken are you expecting me to learn about jank plugin strategy when the debuffs are clearer? Why would you ask me to learn this instead of just a mechanic directly? This is one of the reasons why I'm truly coming to the verdict that science in this case has gone too far. We are now just making plugins to just introduce more complexity into mechanics that never needed more complexity, that they were fine. Now it is time for me to drink, well, tea. Because, well, I just talked about tea, and caffeine addiction is real. Fare thee well, boomers and zoomers. I can't even really call myself a zoomer anymore because this new age, we need markers for everything crap makes no sense to me. So, yes, get off my lawn. Old King Cole is done with this zoomer crap.